The harbor defines our island. Our first industry here was sport fishing. So the harbor's a grand place to go and just see who's in, what's going on, what sort of boats are tied up. Because it's been a gathering place for Port Aransas since we became Port Aransas in 1910.
From the galley to the gangway, few people know more about seagoing vessels than Rick Pratt. He's been building boats for decades, and the first time he laid eyes on Port Aransas, Rick knew this harbor full of tall masts and ocean breezes would be home from now on. All he needed was an empty building to set up shop.
I came down here to open a boat shop. It was on a bicycle, as I recall. And I bicycled into this spot right here and found this shop. Didn't know who owned it, didn't know if it was for rent. Turned out the man who owned it came by to see what I was poking around about, and we made a deal. And as I spent the next week or two starting to build boats here, people started to stop by. And they told me that this had been a boat shop for a long, long time, that it was in fact the Farley Boat Shop. And that's the first time I'd heard the term Farley Boat.
It was the early 1900s. Port Aransas was a sleepy little fishing village back then. That is, until Charles Farley and his sons designed and built what's considered to be the finest tarpon fishing boat ever. Orders came from all over, and the Gulf waters became filled with Farley boats.
They rescued Port Aransas from the Depression. Just by sheer luck, I had blundered into their old shop. I was building boats in the same place that the Farleys had.
Eventually, fancy new fiberglass designs made the old wooden Farley boats a thing of the past. Only thing is, since sawdust is in the air once again, word has gotten out.
As word drifted out that I was a boat builder and that I was in the Farley shop, I kind of became a hangout spot. Folks would drop in here and want to chat. People love to watch a boat being built.
All right. 3/4 of an inch longer. All right. I think
The old Farley Boat Works is back in business. It's now part museum, part workshop, filled with volunteers who will help anyone build their own wooden boat. Are any of the Farleys still around?
Yes, there are a few of them still in town here. As a matter of fact, there's one of them right back here working on a boat.
Pat Farley is the last in a long line of Farley boat builders.
For $2 a day, you could rent one of these boats and they would tow you out into the Gulf and fish you till you caught your tarpon.
This display chronicles the Farley story, and sometimes it's difficult to tell where the museum starts and the workshop stops.
And this end of it is a museum with exhibits and a fine old 1930s vintage Farley boat.
It's not every day you can see the President of the United States land a big fish. It's not every day he catches one, even on a fishing trip to the Gulf. But that great 80-pound tarpon they're landing is enough to make any angler's heart glad and his cup of joy run over.
Yep, it was in a Farley boat when President Franklin Roosevelt landed a huge tarpon all the way back in 1937.
The press was all over this. I mean, there were boats floating there.
It's a photo op. Look at that.
Oh, what a photo op. These guys from all over the country.
Especially for Farley boats.
Oh, my goodness, yes. And so here's his grandfather stealing the limelight by holding up that fish, and here's the proud president down here.
It's just what he needed to make his trip a complete success. But how about the one that got away, Mr. President? Oh, only a little one, eh?
How long does it take to build one of these?
3 weeks.
That's it?
If we can stay on schedule,
3 weeks.
because we teach as we go.
We're trying to cut that down to 2 weeks.
I can come in and I can build my boat in 3 weeks, but how long do I have to be on the list before I can start building my boat?
There it is. We're booked into the winter.
I don't know if I'm going to live that long, guys.
We're right here right now. Charlie's boat and rowboat skiff are here, and this is Farley boat number 2. It's going to be launched this week. So it'll be out of here. Rowboat skiff will be finished. It's 35 years old and it's in for a rehab. And then we move in Mr. Winton, who is a high school kid. And we're building his boat. This is a grandfather, and he's coming with his grandchildren to build a rowing boat. This guy is an intern from college.
This guy?
Yeah, he's been skilled in really fine woodworking, and he needs hours, so he came to work for us. This fellow is in the oil biz. That guy there is a maintenance fellow. The one on that far side is the harbor master. He has a jewelry store.
So they're from all walks of
From
life.
all walks of life. Yep. All they want to do is build a boat. Leave us alone. We want to build a boat.
Down on the Texas coast, once again, the ocean breeze drifts with the smell of fresh-cut lumber and the hum of hand tools. All it takes is a desire to build a wooden boat, and there are always patient volunteers standing by to lend a steady hand. Oh, the waiting list may be long, but once a boat is finished, when it leaves this shop, it's sturdy and seaworthy from stem to stern. And better yet, it's a Farley. One more for the ages. I bet it's a special day when you put one on the water, isn't it?
It's a very special day. And then for a moment, we have empty nest syndrome, but then we start the next one, and the show goes on.
It's all about building boats, isn't it?
It's all about building boats.